This job I'm about to tell you is a secret one. You are not allowed to tell anyone. TIFE was a dark, beautiful, and intelligent young lady. Although she still schooled in the university, she lived in a very big city with different experiences in the world. And one of those experiences were her parents' death. Her parents' death caused her grief and sadness, but she brazened up and decided to move on with her life. TIFE took the money her parents had left before they died, and she used it to rent a moderate apartment where she could lay her head under. TIFE resumed school in one of the universities in her area. She minded her business and focused on her studies until one day, no student spoke to TIFE except from Doris, a girl who was the first person to speak to TIFE. TIFE was surprised to see that Doris was the first person to talk to her. Although Doris was a different person from TIFE, TIFE was casual, nice, and simple, but Doris was always wearing expensive dresses like crop tops and mini skirts, and she always dressed so classy. From a little conversation, TIFE and Doris became very close friends. They would sit close to each other, have smoothies together, and even spend most of the time talking. When they get home, they will also continue with phone calls all day long. TIFE's room were usually filled with books, notes, and her laptop, which she used for research, while Doris's room were always filled with cosmetics, expensive clothes, and all other girlish things. Few weeks later, things started changing. TIFE suddenly had a lot of bills to pay, and she couldn't meet up with them, like food bills, payment bills, school bills, and even rent bills. And she found it very hard to struggle between all of them. And the next day, before she knew it, her landlady came and threw her out of the house for rent due payment. She couldn't pay the money because she had no money and had no job. She tried begging the woman, but the woman couldn't agree anymore. She was already tired and she didn't want TIFE to ruin her. TIFE had nowhere else to go than Doris's house. And when she got there, Doris was amazed to see her at her doorstep with luggages. But when TIFE explained everything, Doris accepted TIFE to stay in her house for the meantime. TIFE was really grateful, and she was relieved to have a place where she could lay her head without shame and embarrassment. In the evening, when TIFE and Doris were having dinner, TIFE thanked Doris one more time, and Doris said that it was her pleasure. TIFE asked Doris where she got the money to rent such a beautiful house that was even bigger than hers. And Doris said, "It's by the grace of God." Around 10 p.m., Doris changed into a very glamorous dress, a silver shiny dress, and a black bag in her hand, with heavy makeup on her face, and she was standing at the door to leave the house. When TIFE saw her, she stopped her by calling out her name. "Doris, where are you going dressed like this at this time of the night?" And Doris replied, chuckling, saying, "It's nothing to worry about. I just need to go and run some few errands." And TIFE was shocked to hear what she said. "Errands? What kinds of errands is that?" And Doris just cancelled the conversation and left, saying, "You won't understand." TIFE paced around her room that night, and the words Doris said, those 3 words she said, "You won't understand," kept on coming back to her mind, and she kept on thinking about those words. She really wanted to know what Doris would be doing out at that kind of time and what errand she would be running. And she said in her mind, "Is this where she gets her money from?" Only God knows. She said so and slept off in the room. When Doris got back in the morning, she didn't talk to TIFE. She just ran to her room and changed her clothes. Few weeks passed and this routine went on for a while. Doris going out late at night and TIFE wondering where she went to. TIFE was still in thoughts in her class that she didn't even focus on what she was writing. She kept on remembering those words that Doris told her, "You won't understand." But she really wanted to understand, so she concluded her mind that night that she was going to ask Doris about where she usually goes to at night. Doris was in her room the next morning, admiring the money in front of her, when TIFE walked in and was shocked to see the amount of money in Doris's hands. And she shouted, "Doris, where did you get this amount of money that you are with from?" Doris asked her to sit on the bed and said, "What exactly do you want to know? Is it the job I do or where I get my money from?" And TIFE said, "Both." Doris then whispered into TIFE's ears that this job I'm about to tell you is a secret one. You are not allowed to tell anyone," Doris said. And TIFE, filled with curiosity, asked, "Say it, what is it? Say it already." And when Doris said it, TIFE opened her mouth in shock. And she said, "What? So this is what you do? How could you, Doris? How could you do such a thing?" And Doris said, "This is the way I make my money." Not the end, but watch out for part 2. And if you want to watch part 2, just do everything you see on the screen. Bye.